Hey there, I'm Sean from Wayne Staffing. Thanks for joining our webinar today. We are so excited to talk about how we can become a US nurse. If you have any questions, type them into the chat. We will answer some during the webinar and the others at the end. If you miss your questions, just email us and we will get back to you soon. Now get started with our session called Empowering Nepali Nurses in New York City. Next slide. Yeah, I'd like to introduce our team members who are with us in webinar today. First up, with Bikram Kaul. He's planning and operating the business, not just at Wayne Staffing, but across our group companies. The great opportunities that you will find through Wayne Staffing are the result of Bikram's passion and hard work. I'm confident that working with us will not only provide you with a job, but also be a significant support in your life in the US, just like it has been for many of our staffs. And now I'd like to introduce Attorney Mia Wang. Securing a stable legal status is crucial for building your career and a new life in the United States. Our company provides visa sponsorship, which can offer you this stability. For that to happen, you need the help of an accurate and professional lawyer. As part of our team, Attorney Miao will handle your visa process. She's a capable and reliable lawyer who will be with you throughout the long process, taking with each of you personally until you receive your visa. Remember, that to successfully complete the visa process, your own efforts are even more important. Please don't forget that. Additionally, I, Sean, have spent nearly a decade a meeting, conversing with, understanding the unique situations of many nurses from around the world and recruiting them to the United States. I've been planning the most efficient journeys for each individual to settle in the US. The fact that you're here meeting us today is a result of those effort. So far, I've helped over 400 international nurses settled in the US, including many Nepalese nurses who have crossed over before you. Many of them have gone through my consulting. As a nurse recruiter and a member of our Wayne staffing team, I want to say that everyone, including Vishal and Deepak, is passionately working toward to the future of our colleagues who will join with us. Now, starting with a Bikram call, we will begin the professions for you all. I hope this will be a valuable time to run a lot of Wayne staffing and USRN. Bikram?
Thank you, Sean. That was really helpful. And as Sean said, he has spent a lot of time in recruiting nurses from Asia, including Nepal. This is something that we have a lot of experience in. In fact, if you look at this slide, our team at Wayne Staffing has sponsored well over 1,000 green cards over the past 20 years. In fact, closer to 1,500 green cards. The green card process is somewhat newer for Nepal. I think it was started actually by Sean around 5 years back, but we've been in the market in Hong Kong, Korea, Nepal for the past few years, Philippines, and we've sponsored close to 1,500 green cards our team has. And we're really excited to present these opportunities to the group here. I see a few hands being raised. If you have any questions, please post them on the Q&A and we will address them either online or during the webinar itself. We are an international RN recruiting company. So Vishal, can you go back to the previous slide? Yeah. We are an international RN staffing company. We are your employer and we staff nurses from all over the world into hospitals in New York City. These are some of the countries that we recruit from. Asia is a focus, but we also recruit nurses from Africa, from South America, from Canada, and we staff them all into high-end facilities in New York City. That is the main focus. Mostly hospitals, but we also staff nurses in hospice, home care, nursing homes, and other kind of facilities. Our main angle is that normally we recruit directly. Occasionally we will go through agents, but our main focus is to approach the nurses as directly as possible. And that is the reason why we have this webinar. Vishal, can you go to the next slide? Even though we are an established nursing staffing company, that is only one of the many things we do. These are some of the pictures of our group offices and group companies, mostly in New York. If you look at the bottom left side, you see our head office building in Bayside in Queens, and the Extreme logo there. We, which is Wayne Staffing, are a proud member of the Extreme Complete group of companies. We do business under two brand names in the US. We are right now in 6, 7 states: New York, New Jersey, Georgia, Missouri, Ohio, to name a few, Pennsylvania. And we employ well over 6,000 people. So when you contract with us, you are contracting with a very large, very stable, very passionate group. Most of the stuff that we do is home care, healthcare, nursing staffing related. So this is not a small entity. You are contracting with a very, very large group of companies here. Vishal, next slide, please. These are the main reasons why you should seriously consider Wayne Staffing if you have an interest in coming to the US as a nurse, and if you are well qualified enough to pass our interview process. We do have a pretty selective interview process, and not everyone will qualify. But if you have the right qualifications, the right attitude, and you really want to come to the US, then these are some reasons why you should think about us pretty seriously. We are your green card sponsor. That's the left side of the slide. We do not have to go through someone else. So when you come to the US, we would have sponsored your green card for you, which means you can interact with us directly. We can answer any of the questions, and we will be your employers when you come to the US. The stuff like what your pay rates are, where you might get placed, do you get overtime, what kind of paid time off you get, all those questions are under our control. We don't have to worry about going to someone else, then having them sponsor you, and then there's a problem, and then you don't know where the problem is at. So we are your green card sponsor. We do not charge an agent fee. So there is no money due to us for the process. We will sponsor you directly, and again, with no agent fees to you. Attractive placements, that's the middle of the slide. We try to place as many nurses as we can at New York City hospitals. Some nurses will get placed in other facilities. As I said, we also place nurses in hospice, in home care, and in nursing homes. A lot of that will be dependent on your interest levels, your capability, whether you understand some issues like what a clinical bedside experience is, etc., and what the needs are. But a large chunk of our nurses get placed in New York City hospitals, and that is where we try to place as many people as we can. Again, there is no guarantee. A lot of it is dependent on the needs of the hospitals here, and probably more importantly, what your experience is. Ideally, if you have a lot of clinical experience, and ideally at least some EMR experience, then we should be able to place you into a New York City hospital. Expert visa sponsorship. As Sean mentioned when he was introducing Meow, Meow specializes in immigration law. She is a full-time lawyer that works with us and for us, and you will be working with Meow and also with a lady called Brittany, whose email address is at the bottom of the slide. But you will be working with Meow directly on the sponsorship, and Meow will be available to answer any question, address any issues that you have. I know that we always get a lot of questions around retrogression, etc., etc. So Meow will actually take you through all those questions when she goes through the slides in a few minutes. Vishal, can we go to the next slide, please? Now I will give this back to Sean to take us through the next few slides to tell you what New York City has to offer and why we are an exciting company.
Thank you, Vikram. I want to tell you more about why New York City is the fantastic place for nurses from other countries like Nepal to work and live. New York has some great advantages for nurses. As a nurse working here, you will earn a good salary. The high salary level will explain why nurses prefer New York City. The salaries for nurses here are higher compared to many other places. This means that you can earn more money while you're doing what you love. Also, the public transportation system in New York is excellent. That means you can save money by not needing a car, and you can easily go to many places without worrying about driving or parking. It gives you a lot of freedom to explore the city without any hustle of owning the car. The city's efficient public transportation makes it easy to get around. Living in New York City is full of excitement. For nurses from Nepal, there's so much to see and do. You can visit the Statue of Liberty, a famous symbol of freedom, or take a walk in Central Park, a big, beautiful park right in the city. Times Square is always bright and busy, a fun place to see. You can also walk across the Brooklyn Bridge and see amazing views of the city. New York has a great food from all over the world, so you can try different things or find the taste of home. On your days off, you can explore, go to market, or see a show on Broadway, which is famous for its plays and the musical. In New York, every day is a new adventure. Finally, there are many job opportunities for nurses in New York. You can work in a big hospitals or in other various healthcare industries. There are lots of options for your career growth. As mentioned earlier, through our company, you can experience various RN positions and also have opportunity to earn more income. So New York is more than just a city. It's an amazing place to work and live. It's higher salary, excellent public transportation that helps you save on car expense, exciting lifestyle, and many job opportunities makes it an ideal choice for international nurses looking to build a successful career and life. Next slide. If you're Nepali nurses are moving to New York City, you will be delighted to know that there's vibrant Nepali community here. New York City is a welcoming city for Nepalese starting their life in the United States. You will find a sense of belonging and the cultural connections, which makes the settling in much easier. The city boasts several Nepalese restaurants where you can enjoy flavor from home. A popular spot is Daulagiri Kitchen in Jackson Heights, Queens. It's known for its authentic Nepali dishes and is a favorite among both locals and people from the Nepali community. You can enjoy momo, dalbat, and other traditional meals, reminding you at home. Jackson Heights, in particular, has a significant Nepali population, so you will find cultural festival events and gathering that bring the community together. It's a place where you can meet other Nepali nurses and people share the experience and get support as you navigate your new life in the United States. Living in New York City, you will never feel too far from Nepal. The city's diverse and then inclusive environment, along with the established Nepali community, make it an ideal for first home for Nepalese in the United States of America. Right, next slide. Our team works hard to partner with some of the best hospitals in New York. These hospitals have won top awards in different medical fields, showing how excellent they are. Working with these great hospitals can really boost your career. They have top-ranked facilities and expertise that can help you grow. And it's not just about your career. Partnering with these hospitals is a big deal for our company too. We are always putting effort into this partnership because it means that we can offer you amazing opportunities while keeping our commitment to providing top quality healthcare staffing. Next slide. Look at these pictures. These are the nurses from many different races working together in the hospital. This is the United States. You can could be this too. Yeah. Next slide, please. Here's our application process. First, send us your resume via email, jobs@wayneStaffingUSA.com. And once we leave it, we will email you for the interview scheduling within a week. When it's time for the interview, our staffing coordinator, Brittany, will conduct it. If you pass, you will have we will have your visa preparations with a Meow. Don't worry, our attorney Meow will guide you through this safe and a faster visa process. Once your visa approved, you will come to the office in New York for orientation with us before hospital interview. There will be another orientation before you started at the hospital. So don't worry too much about adapting to the new hospital system. Next slide. To apply with us, nurses must have an NCLEX license and be registered with the New York State Board. New York State boards. Nurses have license from other states like Texas need to get an endorsement from the New York Board of Nursing. Without this endorsement, actually, we cannot proceed with the visa process for you. So it's crucial to keep this in mind.
Sean, if I can add something there, a lot of the nurses in Nepal have a Texas license, which is great. So we always get questions around, is that good enough? How does Texas compare to New York? So two things, as Sean mentioned. One, you have to endorse a license to New York, which takes a few weeks, but it is not very complicated. And we pay money effectively to help you transfer that license. And two, New York has a lot of benefits over Texas. New York is more expensive, but the salaries are much higher. And more importantly, as Sean mentioned, you don't need a car in New York City. You can use public transportation. That is not a possibility in Texas. So there is a lot of benefits from a New York City perspective. New York is also a lot more multi-ethnic or multicultural. You will see a lot of South Asians, a lot of Nepalese. You will not see that in Texas. Sean, go on.
Yes, correct. Thank you. Okay, next, our immigration attorney Miao will explain about the visa process briefly for your understanding. Miao?
Thank you, Sean. Hello, everyone. Welcome today. My name is Miao Wang. I'm the New York attorney working at Wayne Staffing in New York. This company has successfully sponsored numerous international nurses, which means from an immigration legal perspective, it is a well-qualified employer and sponsor. If you are looking for a legal path to the U.S., Wayne Staffing is a reliable choice. As a lawyer here at Wayne Staffing, excuse me, my role is to assist qualified candidates in coming to this city and legally working here. To be a qualified candidate, you have to pass the NCLEX exam and have a degree in nursing. But for more details, please send your resume to the email below and check with our recruiting department. Now I'm going to give you a brief overview of the employment-based green card, the application process for nurses. Here, after a job interview and signing the employment contract, your immigration process will start immediately. We will send you a list of requested documents and a questionnaire. After receiving your document and based on your background and information, the personalized I-140 application package will be prepared and submitted for you. The Form I-140 is the first step on your journey to get the U.S. green card. After submission, you receive a unique waiting ticket known as your priority date. When the visa bulletin says USCIS is accepting the date after yours, which means your date is up and you can move on the next step to become a permanent resident. The most recent visa bulletin shows that USCIS will only review EB3 applications submitted before September 1st, 2022 in the next month, the February 2024. So you can see there is a gap about 1 year and 4 months between submitting Form I-140 and having a consular interview. All right. This visa bulletin, excuse me, varies from month to month, updated by the USCIS. For your information, when Stephane's Facebook post this information, especially for EB3 nurses, so you can easily locate it if you need it. All right. Next slide, please. This slide is for people who are not currently in the US. For those of you who are outside the US, once your I-140 is approved, the USCIS will transfer the approved application to the National Visa Center, NVC. The NVC will keep your document and collect additional information for the next step, consular processing and consular interview. So when your priority date becomes current, you will be able to make an interview appointment and have the interview in a U.S. embassy in your home country in Kathmandu, Nepal. Before the interview, you will need to get a medical examination, fill out forms, have your visa screen certificate ready, and provide a clean criminal record, and so on. We will help you through these steps when the time comes, so no worries here. Once you pass the consular interview, you will receive an immigrant visa in your passport, which permits you to travel to the US and start working. Next slide, please. This is the most current visa bulletin. All right, next slide, please.
To just spend a minute on the visa bulletin, if you can go back to the previous slide. So this is not in our hands. I think we get a lot of questions, and Meow gets a lot of questions on what is the fastest way possible. This is not under our control. This is the same for us as it is with any other sponsor. This has shrunk, the time gap has shrunk substantially in the last couple of months. And if we are lucky, this could go down even more. What you can do as a applicant is to work with Meow and the team and get your paperwork in to us as soon as possible so that you are in line. So that when the time gap shrinks further, you don't have to wait for it. But again, there is nothing we can do on this front, and this is something that the USCIS comes. And Meow, I wonder if you could address premium processing and whether it works or doesn't work, and what the benefits or not of that are.
Exactly. Yeah. So the visa bulletin is is beyond everyone's control. It depends on USCIS and the US Department of State. So yeah, I will explain a little bit more about the premium processing and regular process. So for now, there's no big difference between regular process and premium process because it not change your priority date, and the priority date for EB3 now is longer than 1 year. So well, so the basic point is the the USCIS provide 2 ways to process the I-140 application, the regular processing and premium processing. On the premium processing, USCIS will decide the I-140 petition within 15 days. Comparing the regular process is a couple months, but it does not change your priority date because the priority date is depend on the date of filing, not the date of approval. All right. Yeah, we're back to the presentation. Yeah, thank you. So you can see the February's visa bulletin suggests a gap of about 1 year and 4 months from the submitting the Form I-140 to having the consular interview. Considering the current timeline, the whole process, including gathering the necessary document, takes about 1.5 years, primarily due to the monthly visa availability, right? Again, this timeline changes based on the monthly visa bulletin and is beyond anyone's control. What you can do is gather the document as soon as possible and start the process as soon as possible, right? So I strongly recommend you to contact us and see if you are qualified, and it takes time to wait for the priority date. So starting the process as early as you can will shorten the entire process. All right. As an immigration attorney, I totally understand how important the immigration application is for you. I understand you may have a bit anxious and a lot of questions. That's all right. And as an in-house immigration attorney at Wing & Staffing, I will be with you every step of the way, making your process as smooth as possible. I'm really looking forward to meeting you guys in New York very soon. All right, I think that's pretty much it for the immigration part. I will happy to answer any immigration related question during the Q&A section. So now with the next.
Thank you, Mia, for that. Really, really helpful.
Thank you.
There are a lot of benefits of working with us in the New York market. I think Sean mentioned that we are part of a much bigger group of companies. We have scale, we have good contact with different hospitals, and these are some of the extra benefits of working with us. I will go from the bottom of the slide to the top, the green row first. We offer very competitive pay rates. Depending on where we are able to place you, we will pay somewhere between $40 to $48 an hour. So normally for an assisted living facility or hospice, it'll be $40 an hour. For a med surge in a hospital, it will be $42 an hour. And for a specialty position in a hospital, it'll be $48 an hour. These are much higher rates than what you can expect outside of New York City, in Texas, or in other markets. Flexible scheduling, we work with you and the healthcare facility to figure out what is the best possible mix on both sides. So both sides try to be as flexible as possible. For some of the places like the hospitals, they actually ask you to work 3 days a week. So you do get the benefit of having 2 normal days off besides the weekend. So you get a lot of flexibility on that front. But again, we only have a limited amount of flexibility. Ultimately, it has to work for the healthcare facility. Variety of assignments, depending on your background, we will try to place you with something that is as good a fit as possible. For some of the group here, that might mean being in an assisted living facility. For some of the group, it might be being in an ICU. So a lot of it depends on what your background is, but we have access to enough healthcare facilities where we can place you with something that suits your background as well as it can be. Sean mentioned that we are able to do extra work for you. What this means is we have other companies in New York City that do things like home care. We do at-home assessments for a lot of insurance companies. We do office-based insurance work for some of these companies as well. So to the extent you want to make more money and you have these 2 days free to do other stuff, we are happy to give you work on those couple of days for you to make more money. And as an example, home-based visit for an assessment, for a couple of hours of work, you get roughly $150, and you can do 4 or 5 of those a day. So you can run the math, you can earn $500-600 a day for each of those 2 extra days, to the extent you're willing to put the work in and the time in. Besides the money part, we also offer a bunch of benefits, including vision, dental, health, and life insurance. On the health insurance, we cover a portion of the payments that are due, and on life, dental, and vision, we cover a substantial portion of the payments. Some of these might have a slight waiting period, but we offer you all these benefits and a few more. In addition to these things, we also offer or try to offer a rate differential. What this means is if there is a tough to fill shift, say, a weekend, overnight, or some other shift. And if the hospital or the healthcare facility pays us anything more for that shift, some places do, some places don't. But if we get paid more for that, so if we get paid 10% more or 20% more, then we will pay you 10, 20% more over your regular rate. So this will not be available to everyone, but wherever we get paid more, we try to pass on a same proportionate increase to you as well. In addition to this, we offer paid time off 2 weeks a year for you to travel, meet a friends, family, do what you want, etc. We are required in the US to offer overtime at time and a half for any hours worked over 40 hours a week. So if the hospital gives us approval for working more, they will pay us time and a half and we will pay you time and a half. So we will again pass that on to you. Vishal, could we go to the next slide? So in addition to these benefits, we also offer onboarding bonus, a sign-on bonus with a total value of $2,700. That is broken up into a lot of different components. Some part of that is getting the appropriate licensure, either directly applying for New York State licensure or getting it endorsed from Texas or some other market. There is roughly $500 allocated to that. We also allocate a similar amount for visa screen, that's a VSC reimbursement, visa screen reimbursement. We offer an onboarding bonus of $1,000, and we offer up to $700 for a one-way ticket for the nurse to come to New York City. So 500 for the licensure, 500 for the visa screen reimbursement, that's 1,000. The onboarding bonus is 1,000, that's 2,000. And then the flight ticket reimbursement is 700. So that is a total of 2,700. In addition to that, you get the legal services from Meow free of cost for yourself and for your dependents. So if you have a spouse, if you have children, we will take care of the legal, not the application fees, but the legal costs we will take care of. There is no additional cost to that. If you sign a 3-year contract, that's 5,400 hours, then we take care of most application fees for yourself on a personal basis as well, in addition to all this. Before we go to the FAQs, there are a few questions that I think we've gotten, but before we get to the questions, if anyone has a question on their specific status, please send across a copy of your resume along with any background that you have, whether you've taken the NCLEX or not, what your experience is, any information that you can, to any of the emails at the bottom of the slide. So there are 3 emails here: brittany.choi@waynesstaffingusa.com. She is a day-to-day administrator. She's not on the Zoom, but she would be a prime point of contact for a lot of people. The second email address is sean.yang@waynesstaffingusa.com. You've all heard Sean speak very eloquently for a long time today. And then the third is jobs@waynesstaffingusa.com. So if you have any specific questions or you would like to apply, please send across a copy of your resume and any background you can send to us at one of these 3 email addresses. So let me start the question where there's a series of questions right now on, can we apply before we take the NCLEX? Sean, do you want to address that? You're on mute, Sean.
Okay, so what's the question? Sorry, I just answering all the the
Can we
question.
apply?
Yeah.
Can we apply before we take the NCLEX?
Of course, you can apply to us, but we cannot proceed your visa process without an NCLEX. So NCLEX is one of the most documentations to file your I-140. So of course, the MIA will give a guide details once you signed with us, but we recommend, strongly recommend that passing the NCLEX first. Actually, New York State Board is prepared for us. Passing the NCLEX first and then apply to us.
Got it. Thank you. There are a lot of questions on the Q&A from anonymous attendee. And there's a last question, is a very, very long question. So anonymous attendee, please send us your resume. We are happy to talk to you. It is not an issue if you don't have work experience currently. So as Meow said, from the point you apply to us, we do an interview. Assuming the interview goes well, we agree to sponsor you. We get your paperwork for the I-140 application, you get approved, and then there is a wait. That entire process could be 12 to 24 months long. So you have time in that period to get work experience, even if you don't have any experience right now. And he said, it does not matter if you don't have experience currently in community health or in hospice, get as much clinical experience as you can, and we will do our best to place you where we can, assuming you clear the interview. So don't worry about what you don't have right now. You still have at least 12 to 24 months to go before you come to the US. And anonymous attendee, for you and for everyone else that has a question, please keep working till the day you come here. Normally, hospitals, nursing homes, don't like too much of a break in your experience. So do the best you can and keep working till the end. There's a question from Super RN. What do I do when so many agents are approaching me? It is your choice, Super RN. If you want to pay a big fee to the agents and not have the certainty of what happens to your application, then that is your own choice. With us, you don't pay an agent fee, so you keep that money with yourself and you can use that money to settle your family when you come to New York. And you can deal with us directly, which means you know the entire team. This is 80% of the senior team of the company. We're available to answer any questions. We have an office in Korea, that's where Sean's based. We have an office in India, that is not very far away. That's where Vishal and Deepak are based. And then we have an office in New York, where Meow and the rest of the senior team is based. If you would like to work with us directly, then you should apply to us. Again, you can save a lot of money and a lot of headache. If you want headache and want to pay money, then you should talk to the agents. How can I endorse my Texas board license to New York City? Sean, how does that work?
Oh yeah, we have many questions, like same questions from for attendees. That actually is a very the wrong process that I explained on this webinar. But once you get the starting the process with us, actually we can give some guide from Meow and us. After you signing up with us, we will support and giving assistance for your endorsement process. But at this time, actually, I cannot explain all the detailed process on here. So please understand this.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Sean. Another question from anonymous attendee. Is it guaranteed we will get to work in a hospital if we have bedside experiences here in Nepal? No, there's no guarantee. There will be an interview process. If you have good experience, which normally means a combination of good bedside experience, but also good documentation experience, and that includes at least some experience with an EMR package of some type or the other. If you have both of them, then there's a very good chance, but we will set you up with interviews, and we have quite a few hospitals here that'll interview you. But if your bedside experience is limited or you don't have experience with other technology, then there is a chance that you will have to work in some other facility for a bit of time before you get to a hospital. So there is no guarantee from our side. There's a question from Pragya. Will my salary be decided before sign the contract? The ranges will be decided, Pragya. So which means the contract will mention that if you work in an assisted living facility, you will get paid X, which is $40 an hour. If you work in a specialty at a hospital, you'll get paid 48 an hour. So that is what will be put in the contract. And then depending on your experience, depending on how you interview, depending on sort of how you present yourself, you will get placed at one of those, and your salary will get dependent based on that. There's another question from anonymous attendee. Do you prefer direct hiring or staffing? I'm not sure what the question is. You will be working for us, anonymous attendee. So we are the employer of record for you, and then we place you into different hospitals. If the question is whether we directly place you into hospital and then the hospital pays you, that is not what we do. You will get paid for, and your benefits will come from Wayne Staffing, and Wayne Staffing then places you into the hospitals or the other healthcare facilities. Do I have to pay for New York license endorsement? Yes, if you have a Texas license, then you have to pay for your own New York license endorsement. But a portion of the upfront benefits package, Vishal, I wonder if you could take us back to the slide that shows the $2,700. So if you look at this, there's a total value of the benefits package at $2,700. A portion of that $500 is allocated for the benefit of getting a new New York license or the cost of endorsing it from Texas or some other state. That's roughly what the cost is for the endorsement. So we are paying you for that endorsement uh, as part of this sign-on onboarding bonus, if you will. Thank you, Michelle. Can you go back to the questions? I think here, the other question that we have is on the length of the contract. What is the duration of the contract? How is it determined? Sean, do you want to answer that question?
Oh, sorry, which questions?
No worries. The duration of the contract. So let me answer that then.
Okay, I can explain it. Our contract period divided into two options, 3,600 hours and 5,400 hours. These contracts are based on the actual working hours with us, and these hours include overtime and PTO. Therefore, we offer very reasonable and shorter contract hours compared to other companies. With 5,400 hours contract, as mentioned earlier, there are several benefits provided, such as a one-way fare, I-140 filing, and ambush fee signing bonus, and more. On the other hand, the 3,600 hour contract requires individuals to cover all expenses incurred during the process. And the other frequent questions we received before is, I think a critical, yeah.
Question from Pragya. Can I study a bachelor's in nursing while working? We would encourage that. If the benefit of New York City is that there are a lot of good colleges, so and you can actually, if you have an associate's level equivalent degree, you can then do an associate level to a bachelor's level even online. It's called an RN to BSN, and you can do that in person, or you can do that in person in the 2 days that you will likely have off, or you can do that online. That is one big benefit of New York City. You have a lot of opportunities to do additional work. If you're already a bachelor's level and you want to do a master's level nursing, which some nurses that we employ do, you can do that. You can then eventually do a doctorate. So in New York City, there are a lot of facilities, both clinical and on the educational side, where you can study online or hybrid or in person and do your higher education while you're working with us. That is not a problem. There's a question regarding coming to the US without an NCLEX. There will be other avenues for that, but we currently don't sponsor anyone without an NCLEX. For us, an NCLEX is a requirement. So the only way we can start the process is if you have an NCLEX and you already have endorsed or you have a direct license into New York, or you are well on your way to do that. Unless you have those prerequisites, we are not currently in a position to sponsor you for any positions. We only sponsor for nursing, and for nurses to come to the US, you have to have an NCLEX licensure for the state in which you intend to work in. How long should I maintain my clinical experience before departing for New York? You should have as much experience as possible, and you should work till as long as you can, till right before you depart for New York. Hospitals and other facilities don't like seeing too much of a break, so please keep working for as long as you can. While you're waiting for the approvals to happen, we will also send you some training materials. There will be some training from the team in New York. So we will keep providing you additional access and benefits to training, but please keep working for as long as possible. Mia, there's a question for you. I have accompanied family members. How does the visa process work, and can it be done together?
Yes, you can. So your spouse and unmarried children under 21 years old can apply for the green card along with you and have the consular interview as a family unit with you. You can all get it together.
Areas to live in New York and housing prices. Sean, what information are we able to provide the nurses?
Housing. Yeah. Actually, these days, it's quite easy to find the housing information for New York through the app or the applications, internet, Google, and there are many specialized websites for renting homes and other accommodations. And I believe that many Nepalese community, they are sharing their the housing information in themselves. So typically nurses tend to search for short-term housing options before arriving in New York, and then look for more permanent residence once their workplaces after we assign the job for in dedicated hospitals is determined. So we'll make sure that to share relevant information around time your visa process is completed. In the orientation, actually, before landing in the New York, we will communicate a lot for including like kind of these questions.
All right. So the last question that we'll address, and then we will have most of this presentation online and we'll post it on our website. And in addition to that, if you have any questions, please send us an email. Last question we'll take is, how complicated is the process to endorse the New York license to endorse my license to New York City? So as Sean mentioned, it does take some time. It takes a few weeks, but it is not a complicated process and you can do it online. There is a cost to it and we effectively pay you for that cost. So you should plan for maybe 4 weeks, a couple of 2, 3 weeks plus or minus, but plan for that. It's not a complicated process. And again, you will need a New York license to work with us. So with that, thank you, everyone. Thank you to the Wayne staffing team. Thank you to all the nurses from Nepal. This is really helpful. We will post this presentation on Facebook and on our website in a few days. And if there are any questions, you have a WhatsApp number for us. We have the jobs at Wayne Staffing USA. You also had Brittany and Sean's email addresses. Please reach out to us and we will get back to you shortly. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.